He even had the confidence to pull Scott for that chat and have it out with him. And I was like, do you know what? That's really mature, but it's also kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, gals.
Good morning and welcome back to Love Island the Morning After. I'm Indiyah Polack and we are back again this morning to dive into a very emotional episode about All Stars.
And I'm Amy Hart, and once again, we have the wonderful Jackie Adedeji with us.
Good morning, darling.
Good morning.
What a show.
Right?
Yeah, I literally thought I was going to cry. Right, let's just talk about it. Let's get it over with.
Oh my gosh.
So if I'm going to cry, it can be early on.
Honestly, Queens, I wanted to jump through that TV screen and just give Sean like the biggest squeeze ever. Like his shaky voice, also him just expressing that he feels like he's been picked on just really broke me, because actually it's really hard to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
And then to stand up to Scott, who's obviously a very confident person. I was actually really proud.
I was really proud of him and Tommy.
Oh my God, Tommy.
And the fact the two of them were sat there, and Scott, who's a big character and he's a big brash person, is sat there sort of having a go at them, and they really banded together and stuck up for each other, and I really loved that.
That is how you back the beef.
That is how you back the beef. And do you know what? I understand Scott has his issues with Sean, and he's talking about, look, as a viewer, I've seen certain things from past seasons I didn't like. But I just think, people change. People, learn from their mistakes. They grow. They, gain wisdom. And I feel like in that moment, it's kind of like, just let it go, Scott. If Sean isn't your kind of guy, leave him. And I'm not really keen on when people give it to people who don't give it back. If Sean was someone that really liked to, give it back and have an argument, they'd be like, you know what, charge it. The way they like to say it. But I just feel like going for someone that isn't that confrontational, it feels a little bit like a cop-out.
Yes.
We saw that Sean called Scott a bully. Now, we know the words bully. That is a very big word. It's a very large accusation, and we can see why Scott would get his back up in that situation. I don't agree. I don't think Scott has been bullying Sean per se. I would feel like they just don't get along. They're not each other's kind of people. And they just need to stay clear of each other.
Yeah, just more like nitpicky.
Yeah.
Which is childish.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much nitpicky. But yeah, bully is a very strong
You got to be
word.
careful when you chuck that word around. I mean, and Scott's probably thinking, look, we're on national TV and you're throwing that word around. Got to be careful.
When he kept saying, I don't conform to your tears, what does that even mean, first of all?
Right.
And number two, do you really think that Sean sat there with Belle, who he's getting to know, sat with all his mates? Do you really think he wanted to cry? No, he didn't. That was his natural reaction. You could see he was trying to hold it in. And when he was like, yeah, the tears, he's just trying to get everyone to feel sorry for him by crying and stuff. No, if he'd sort of gone off and then everyone was like, Sean's crying. He was sat around that fire pit. He was trying to sort of stick up for himself, and he just got really emotional, bless him. And one also thing I didn't like,
Come on, Amy.
Come on, Amy. Tell us.
was when they were sat on the beanbags the next day, and he said, you're saying that I'm bullying you, and I came for you on day 1 and day 12. But I was saying, Sean, say that he blanks you. Say that he blanks you, because Sean has already said, I've come to him a couple of times and asked him questions. He completely blanks me. He's saying when people come in, oh, yeah, we're friends now, and then not following through on it. If that's how Sean feels, that's how Sean feels.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Scott was the one saying, I stand on business. And I love that Sean stood on business. He said, yeah, you're not my type of person.
Yeah.
Right. And what I really loved about Sean in that moment was he really held his own. And, like you said, he didn't leave. He stood in that moment. He held his own. He stood up for himself. And then he even had the confidence to pull Scott for that chat and have it out with him. And I was like, do you know what? That's really mature, but it's also kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, gal.
She's going for a pick and mix.
Sean, I was like, oh, you strong guy. I mean, I just like the way he was just confident, and he just owned it, and he owns it in a different way. He's not, out there like Scott, but I just think he actually showed more maturity than Scott. And I think that's kind of sexy, or is it just me?
I'm honestly living for the drama, laughs and love triangles of week 1 in the Love Island villa. Now let's charge it and get into the unreal pre-love looks worn by our all-star Islanders. Adding a touch of casual to their nighttime glam, the girls channel old school vibes and coordinating varsity jackets. Jess turned Charlie and Sean's heads in a gorgeous retro fake chainmail, and later, this vintage Georgia varsity jacket. They looked amazing. But let's not forget our Villa boys. Scott brought back a Villa classic. The Axel Arigato denim jacket has been beloved by ex-Islanders like Harry and Cash in Series 12. Now, Scott and Leanne's first date is giving couple. Leanne looks stunning in a jaded dress paired with an authenticity guaranteed Gucci handbag, while Scott styled an Arne shirt and shorts. I can't wait to see what eBay and the Islanders have in store for us in the coming weeks. eBay, sponsors of Love Island All-Stars. It's really interesting to see. Love Island is all about timing. You can be a hero one day and then it all come crashing down the next day and then be a hero again the next day. And we found that like last week, especially on our comments on the podcast, everyone was like, Scott is the MVP. Scott's amazing. I love Scott. Best Islander ever. And then even from like 2 nights ago, the preview of his fight with Sean, like the comments have changed completely and everyone's sort of like, why is he doing this? Why is he being like this? It's so out of order on Sean. And I think, you know, we've had a vote last night and last vote, Scott was the top boy and Sean was in the bottom 3. Could that switch?
Oh, absolutely. I just feel like because we've never seen Sean like that, I just think we were all just like, do you know what, Scott? You did not pass the vibe check.
Yeah.
So I won't be surprised if, he's...
I think it just gets to a point really, like, and obviously like nothing against Scott, but we even had like the likes of Curtis like stepping in and trying to calm down the situation. So I could only imagine how actually heated it actually was in there. So yeah, I think if the guys and girls are going to get involved, it obviously means that he's taken it a step too far. And do we think maybe this vote could have potentially gotten to Scott's head? Like now that he is voted favourite boy, he's now on his high horse and he's, you know, being
He's untouchable.
You know, he's being producer Scott, like everyone is saying. So, hey, who knows?
Yeah, he got a bit too comfy. That's what I think, but we'll see.
You know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with giving your opinion. If Scott has an opinion, give it. But I think in every situation, I think it's important to always be kind.
Yes.
You know, like you can give your opinion, you can not agree with someone. But I think regardless whether you're conforming to someone's tears or not, I think it's important to be kind. If someone's upset, take it and be like, cool. I don't think it's necessary to like keep prodding and it's obvious the person is visibly upset.
Yeah.
And I know that some people will argue, well, Sean wasn't very nice to Mimi and Jess. And,
true.
You know, but like, what is the point of All-Stars if you can't see people for who they are now? The whole point is they're back for a second time round. They're back as a different person. They want a different journey. Sean, you know, there was the whole thing with Joey. Was he a little bit starstruck with Joey Essex and just wanted to be his bestie and stuff? He made decisions that weren't correct. But he deserves a second chance. Otherwise, there is no point in All-Stars.
That is correct. We're going to get you a little justice for Sean.
Yes.
Stick it right here.
Justice.
Speaking of facts. I really wonder why Scott decided to give Sean the stirring spoon, because everyone in there calls him producer Scott. So what is it that makes
he can't
him...
give it to himself.
He can't give it to himself. But is Sean getting to know Belle really him stirring anything? Like, what is it?
I guess he's backing Shaq. Shaq is his
100%
friend.
his friend, yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to give it to you because obviously Shaq was walking around the villa sad because of what happened between Bells and Sean. So I think he was just going to, he's backing his friend.
So a bit of a cop out then.
Yeah.
But also, I think what they're all forgetting is Sean did not pick Belle. Belle picked Sean. Like, it wasn't his decision to be picked. And it's the same thing, we'll talk about them later, but with Lucinda and Ciaran and Samie and stuff, everyone's like forgetting Lucinda picked Ciaran. Like, they had the power. So I don't understand why Sean is getting so much flack for all the Shaq stuff.
Maybe it's like a boy code thing, right? I don't know.
But so it's not his
But
choice.
then it's not his choice.
Yeah.
What is
It
his
can't
choice?
be like rejection. No, I don't want it picked. Obviously, they came to a truce at the end of their chat and sort of said, we're never going to be friends, but they're going to be civil. Is it nice, do you think, in the villa for that to happen?
To be honest, yeah, because I guess when you're living with each other 24/7, it's hard to have enemies in there. You wake up with each other, you go to sleep with each other, you have dinner with each other. So it's good to at least remain, you know, cordial and keep the vibes going.
It's good that they could actually come to an agreement as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're both mature enough to be like, we're not going to be best friends, but we'll manage each other and like keep the vibe cool so that everyone's like doesn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which I can respect. I mean, that's grown people.
They've both got like good, solid groups of friends in there who will have their back and support them. So they don't really need to be each other's friends.
No. I do wonder if eventually they do actually, because you know what's interesting? I think sometimes when people have really strong personalities, they end up being very close to people who are a bit more timid. So I don't know whether maybe as time goes on, they might maybe get close. I don't know. I know that's like a plot twist, but I just feel sometimes that dynamic tends to happen. And I don't know, maybe Scott might become fond of Sean.
Maybe the dust just needs to settle and then maybe Scott will understand what like Sean is trying to say about him. You know, sometimes you need someone to kind of tell you about yourself so you can see your own character flaws.
I was going to say, do you think Scott will reflect on this and change anything?
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We've got a new triangle.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Or
Oh, no,
I think by the end of the episode, maybe not a triangle, but
No,
you know,
yeah, it will be
it was when it was. So we have a
Right.
Lucinda, Ciaran, and Samie. Obviously, Ciaran and Samie have been getting to know each other. Now we have like debated whilst watching the show how close they actually were. But my theory is we didn't see them for days. We did not see either of them for days and days and days. So I feel like that was them in a corner having very like sort of not deep flirty chats that we would have seen, just like really getting to know each other. So I think they were actually stronger than what we think they were. And then obviously Lucinda came in, had to bombshell, had to pick someone, picked Ciaran, and yeah, it's not turned out well for Samie.
No, she's on a kissing ban.
I know.
They can't
Bless
even
her.
have a snog. Seeing Samie upset was upsetting because she probably thought she was getting somewhere with Ciaran because they
Yeah.
had that kiss and she leant in, they kept going, and then now it's like, well, no, we're not kissing anymore. And it's
Yeah,
like,
to be honest, I think it is quite harsh and like, again, it's never nice to see someone cry, but even hearing the words come out of Sammy's mouth, like, look, we kissed last night and now it's the next morning, you've not even pulled me for a chat, and then I'm seeing you speak to Lucinda and the first thing you say to me is, right, we're going on a kissing ban. It's quite harsh.
yeah.
You know, for two people that were getting to know each other, smooth sailings until bombshell Lucinda came around.
Yeah.
And I guess Lucinda and Samie haven't really had the best friendship in the house. You know, Lucinda's kind of like denied their friendship in front of everyone.
She basically said you are a fan.
You know, you're a fan. You know, you invite me to your birthday so we're not friends. So yeah, I think it's probably quite harsh for Samie. Do you think when the kiss happened, do we think Samie maybe kissed him intentionally to kind of like...
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
mark a
Samie
territory?
definitely kissed Ciaran intentionally. She was marking her territory. She's like, I'm going to get my man's back. And she did for a hot sec.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Lucinda had it out with Ciaran, and then now there's a kissing ban. I think it's sad because Lucinda and Samie aren't close. So then it's not even like they can chat about it. It's
Yeah.
like there really is a divide.
Yeah.
Right. And it really is a competition now between them.
Yeah.
So, and then also it's not nice to feel replaced
Yeah.
No, definitely.
either.
And it was that horrible like 3 shot at the end where it was like Samie crying, Ciaran looking pensive, and then it just cut to Lucinda, who was obviously not involved in the conversation. So I'm not saying she should have done anything else, but it just cut to her and she's like, ha, ha, ha. Oh no.
Do you know what I will say though? I do feel like even if Samie didn't lean in and kiss Ciaran, I do think that he would have still continued to get to know Lucinda.
Yeah.
Because I think it was his decision. I think from Lucinda pulled him, he's always been interested. I feel like now it just feels a bit different because obviously Samie thought the kiss would kind of like, you know, shut that down and it would just be them two. But I think Ciaran was always going to put himself first, and maybe it just obviously had to happen this way, but it was always going to be a tough conversation where Ciaran would have to go to Samie and be like, look, I want to get to know both of you. I want to try to be as respectful as possible. But, you know, I guess the kiss happening just makes things sting a bit more.
Also, Ciaran's Love Island experience last time was coupling up with Nicole on day 1.
Right, exactly.
And being with her for the whole 8 weeks. So I feel like he probably is a bit like, oh, I actually missed out on a Love Island experience. I do want to get to know other people.
Yeah. It makes sense though.
Yeah.
You don't want to commit too quick,
No.
which he's done before. So he's like, yeah, I don't put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah, true.
It was interesting when Lucinda got upset about them kissing because she had the choice of, you know, Jack, single, no connection. Tommy, single, no connection. And then she chose Ciaran, who was in quite like a secure, like, I don't want to say couple. They were coupled up, secure connection. Sounds like Wi-Fi. And then she's shocked that they're still kissing.
Yeah.
It's like you literally had 2 guys that you would have been everything for you.
Yeah. I don't know. She's a bombshell. She obviously has this, we don't know, this kind of invisible kind of beef with Samie, or just wants to be like, you know, ahead of her and maybe wants to be more of like the more important girl
Yeah.
to Ciaran. So I think she was definitely trying to like rub salt in the wound. But obviously when she's hearing that Ciaran is still with Samie, it's just pissing her off.
Yeah.
It's pissing her off, and she feels like, great, Sammy's won and I'm now back in the picking.
Oh, absolutely. Lucinda knows exactly who she is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she walked in there and was like, thanks, I'll have Ciaran. And then I just think then the kiss is making her feel like she's not hot.
Yeah.
You know what I
She
mean?
feels second best.
I get it. Maybe we would be the same way if we, you know, when you know you're hot and then, you know, then the person who you picked now goes and kisses you know, it makes you feel like you're not enough. So I think that now she probably feels like she's back on top again.
Yeah.
And then obviously Sammy's feeling even worse because they're not friends.
100%.
So, yeah.
We've talked a few times about like sort of collateral damage in Love Island, and I really hope that like, I'm not saying they have to get married, but I hope that Lucinda and Ciaran give it a good go, because Samie, quite clearly, I would never have expected Samie to be the kind of girl that would actually sit there and get visibly upset in front of Ciaran during that conversation. I thought she'd be more like Helena, like, yeah, right, whatever, and then go and get upset somewhere else. And I just really hope that they make a go of things, because if not, Samie has literally been collateral damage for no reason.
Yeah. Do we think by any chance Ciaran might have downplayed how close he actually is to Samie? Here we have Millie pulling Lucinda for a chat saying, look, they have kissed and they have been speaking, they are really close. And Lucinda kind of didn't really seem to know that at all. So what do we think? Do we think maybe Ciaran hasn't been as honest, and maybe he should have been like, look, Lucinda, I want to get to know you, but me and Samie are really close. We are having deep chats. It's more serious than you think.
I mean, from what we've seen, he was just like, I'm open.
Yeah, he was
That's what
open.
everyone said. Everyone's open.
Yeah.
What do you think about Millie telling her about the kiss before Ciaran could get there?
Oh.
Look.
It was so quick. It was within like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather hear from my friend, I feel.
Yeah.
Also, it gave Lucinda like time to cry and digest and then come back to with Ciaran and stand on business with him. Whereas maybe if he told her, then she wouldn't have maybe as felt as like confident, I guess. I don't know.
When Samie told the girls that she'd kissed Ciaran, and they were all like, oh my God, you kissed him. Oh my God. Oh my God. I felt that we're acting like she'd done something wrong. And I'm like, they've literally been together for like a week. Like, she has not done anything wrong.
Yeah, I guess it's because...
It was shocking. It was
Yeah,
shocking.
yeah,
But it was
yeah.
like, what? You kissed him?
I think because it probably also gives off the fact that if you guys are kissing, you guys are getting serious. But to the girls, it's like he's very still open to Lucinda.
Yeah.
So I think it is kind of like a shock. Is this like, oh, you kissing Ciaran, does that mean that you guys are now like solid and Lucinda's out the picture? Because to us, Lucinda is very excited to be speaking to him.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that. They're not in the loop. And maybe this is partially Ciaran's fault for not actually being quite honest.
Yeah, and communicating.
Yeah.
I think that would have helped. But then I suppose, like what you said, because he was coupled up in the villa the last time he was there with Nicole, he probably didn't want to tell Lucinda about the depth of his relationship with Samie, because maybe in fear that she might be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, come back, because I want to have that Love Island experience.
Yeah.
He's open. He doesn't want to put all his eggs in one basket. And sometimes, I guess, what people don't know won't hurt them, right?
Right, crystal ball's out. This time next week, will Ciaran be pursuing Lucinda, Samie, or neither?
I think he's going to go back to Samie, personally.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he actually just wants to give himself a chance at exploring a different connection.
Yeah.
You know, he fancies Lucinda fancies him. But I think he's, people say, I owe it to myself. I think it's just one of those things.
We need to be tested.
Yeah, we need to
check
be
that we're
tasted.
okay.
I need to stop kissing to know if I fancy you. And it's not all that baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ciaran was saying he couldn't stop kissing Samie. I mean, that's a major compliment, right?
Yeah, to be honest.
Yes.
But I think that's a positive, and I think he just doesn't want to put all his eggs in one basket. He wants to have a bit of fun, but I think eventually he's gonna come back to her.
But will she be there?
Will she be there?
Will she be there?
Well,
Hey, things move
time will
fast.
tell.
So, last night we had the game. It got a bit
A new
heated.
game.
A new
We've
game.
never had that game before.
What was the game called?
It's giving. That's why.
It's
It's giving has never been said so many times.
Right.
Yes.
We had the game It's Giving. They had these cute little funky dory boxes with little stuff in there. They handed it to their friends. What we saw yesterday was Shaq hand Leanne a box that said most boring. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's quite a burn. And I think there's actually nothing worse than being called boring.
I would rather be called vulgar.
Yeah. Like anything else, like all of those other ones, I'd rather than boring.
No, yeah.
One thing I will say is to get on Love Island, you can't be boring.
can't be boring.
So if you're the most boring out of that group of 12 people, it doesn't mean you're the most boring in the world. It
Yeah.
just means you're the most boring out of a group of people who have made it onto television.
Hey, look, they called me boring,
Did
Look at us. Look at me
they?
now,
Yeah,
literally. And do you know what it is? When you're inside the Love Island villa, you don't know how you're being perceived on the outside. So you might be having fun conversations or whatever, but if it's not getting picked up, you will get that boring stamp. If you're not doing like producer Scott stuff, you might well get the boring stamp.
And
you know?
also, it is quite easy to become quite boring in the villa because the days are long. It's very
days
hot.
are long.
So you do just nap on the day bed.
And poor
the
Leanne,
whole
she
day.
was just eating for 3 hours, is it? Is that
Yeah,
what?
waiting
She's
for
just having a
Scott.
munch. She's having a late night munch.
But the question is, where was Scott when she was
Well,
eating for 3 hours?
In people's
Wow.
business.
In people's business, plotting his next move, He had the big whiteboard out with the strings.
That's it.
Do you know what? I think that is also not a trap, but that is something that comes with being in a secure situation in the villa. When you are happy in your couple, you can get the boring label because there's no drama for you. You're invested in your person.
Well, good relationships
having
can be
jokes.
quite boring, can't they? Because
They
it's
can.
like it's all healthy and nice.
It's all healthy and fun, and no one wants
Yeah.
to listen to your couple jokes every day.
Yeah, no.
You know, they want
Yeah.
real drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very out of character for Shaq. He overreacted when he was given the game player token by Jess. And she just said, like, and this was a cop-out. She said, I'm giving you this because I love you. Like, no, come on. And he was like, Sean's the biggest game player. I'm like, not the time.
And I personally don't think Sean is a game player at all.
I don't either.
Like, Sean is actually just riding the wave. He's getting to know Belle. He's actually just trying to do Love Island.
Yeah.
I think that was an easy out. It's like, who can you're the game player.
Or a little bit of projection.
And then when they were inside at the end of the night, like getting ready to go to bed, Millie was talking about, you know, how she had a boob job because she had flat boobs, flat bum. They're having this like light-hearted conversation about that. And then Shaq's like, I still don't think I should have been the game player. Like,
Oh
Jess,
my gosh, Shaq,
Jess
give it
is
a
like,
rest.
Please, just stop. We don't need to
Please.
talk about it now.
The game is done.
Yeah.
It's
Bless,
over.
bless Shaq, he's just a bit sensitive, isn't he?
He's very, he feels all his feelings.
Yes, yeah.
And Jack got given his ticket home by Leanne.
Harsh,
Not Jack.
But he did make a good point that there were other people in the villa who should technically.
But
go
also,
home.
I like the fact that he wasn't like offended by it. He
No.
didn't
No,
try
he
and.
took it on the
He was just
chin.
like, yeah, I don't have a connection. You're right, but there are other people too that don't have connections. But thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah.
That's it for this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning with even more gossip from the villa. Jackie, will you be joining us?
Obviously.
And don't forget to leave us a comment. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.